Hey, sixth grade, it's Mrs. Keys coming at ya. Okay, so I am so sorry that these were not uploaded like they were supposed to be before. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do both animals in one video, and then I'm gonna change all the due dates so that everything is due at the end of the week for both birds and reptiles. Okay, so I'll fix the assignment. You're not gonna get any points taken off. And we're just gonna do it like this, okay? So let's get started. We're gonna do birds first, and let's take out our birds picture. It's the one with all the birds on it. Okay, so you got a few friends on here. Shout out to Mrs. Jackson, who's watching us. Actually, watching me. And let's get this going. So we have this bird's picture that's gonna go into your notebook. We have a few fun friends on here. We have emperor penguins. Even though they don't fly, they're still considered birds. We have storks, snowy owls, just all kinds of birds from all kinds of places, including the flamingo, which, did you guys know, actually, here's a fun thing. Extra credit in science for anybody who can submit a Google Doc. I'll put in a special assignment for you. If you want to do it, you can. It'll say ungraded, so it won't be like a missing assignment if you won't do it, if you choose not to do it. But if you can tell me and explain to me how flamingos get their color. Okay, it's a thing that it's actually super cool. So if you want to research and not plagiarize, that means don't just copy and paste information that's not yours to copy and paste. Actually read it and learn it and then rewrite it in your own words. It's a funny thing. Your own words are powerful, people. You have to use your own words and your own knowledge. Don't use someone else's. It's like chewing someone else's gum. You guys, it's gross. Don't do that. It's not cute. So tell me why flamingos are pink. They're not born pink. It's not. Because some flamingos are like very pink, and then other flamingos are sort of like light red, kind of orange, but it depends on one thing. Tell me what it is. You'll get 10 points extra credit in science on whatever. I'll just add 10 points to your grade because I'm nice. Okay, so there you go. Let's get into birds. Caw. That's my bird sound that I'm gonna do for you all. Caw, caw, caw. You guys, I'm cawing at Mr. Keys and he's like, doesn't even care. I was cawing at you. That's why I married him, you guys. Okay. Caw. Okay, birds. About birds. Okay, so let's start taking notes, yes? That's my hand signal for my fun little sound. Okay, they have feathers, obviously. They have hollow bones and wings to fly. Okay, feathers, hollow bones, wings to fly. You can just like list these things out because these are just very simple characteristics, okay? Feathers, hollow bones, wings to fly. They hatch from eggs, okay? They have 2 legs and either a beak or a bill. Not like a $20 bill, like an actual like flat bill, or like a spiky beak, okay? That they can, depending on what kind of food they eat, is that determines the shape of their mouthhole. Mouthhole? I don't think that's the word. Probably spelled M-O-U-T-H-A-L. I don't think it's a word, but we're gonna use it for this lovely video. It's been a long day, you guys. Okay, so they have hatch from eggs. They have 2 legs and either a beak or a bill. They help us, humans, by eating insects that are harmful to plant life. That's helpful because otherwise our plants would die. Like things like crops, not necessarily like roses and those kind of things, but like crops. Actually, funny thing, I watched a movie last night. I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you haven't, you should. It's really good. It's called The Biggest Little Farm. And it's about this couple who like starts a farm in Southern California, and it's so good, and it's filled with all kinds of amazing information about plants and farms and how animals help the farm. And it's actually really interesting. So actually there's a section about how the birds in this case were hurting the farm because they were eating the fruit that the people were growing on the trees. But they also eat insects that help us so that our plants don't die. Okay, they can either nest in trees or on the ground in well-covered brushes. So sometimes you'll see like funny little bushes and stuff, and then some birds will make nests inside of those little bushes. It's just where they choose to be. I don't know, but mostly they make nests. Sometimes in trees, sometimes in other areas. Sometimes you'll see them in like your rain gutters. Sometimes you'll just kind of see them in other little places, and they'll make their nests there wherever they feel safe and away from other animals that can get to their young. Okay? They're warm-blooded, meaning that their body temperature stays the same regardless of their surrounding environment, so they won't fall out of trees like iguanas in Florida. You remember the story. Okay. They can live and breed in all 7 continents, including Antarctica. Many bird species migrate to take advantage of seasonal temperatures that can affect available food sources. A lot of birds do this. I know you've heard the phrase fly south for the winter. So basically the concept of that is that the area where they normally and typically live, it gets really cold, and so their food source isn't available to them. So they have to fly south. So here in the Northern Hemisphere, when it's winter for us, it's summer for the Southern Hemisphere. We did a very small unit in science, if you recall, about seasons and how the Earth is tilted and how it rotates and how the position of the Earth's tilt and affects the seasons because of how the sun is shining on the planet. It's all going to come back to you as you're hearing me say this. So when the Earth is tilted toward the sun on the Northern Hemisphere, so when we are tilted towards the sun, it's our summer. That means that the sun is shining stronger and brighter on the top part of the Earth, the top half or the top hemisphere, the Northern Hemisphere. That means that the bottom part or the Southern Hemisphere isn't getting direct sunlight like we are, and so it's colder for them. So that's our summer. When the seasons change, okay, if this is the Earth, it goes like this. So we are far, if this is the sun over here, we're farther away from the sun. We aren't getting this direct, lovely sunlight, but the Southern Hemisphere is. So it's their summer. Our winter, their summer. Our birds will fly south where the climate is warmer, where the weather is hotter, where their food source is usually going to be, because it's not going to be where it's cold. So once it runs out here because the weather gets hotter, they go and get the food source that is in the warmer part, which in our case, it's the Southern Hemisphere. Okay? Those are some migratory patterns and information of some birds. Life cycle. So they go from egg to like a young bird to an adult bird. Okay, all birds hatch from an egg. They are cared for by an adult parent until they're old enough to care for themselves. They will sit in the nest and the parent will feed them in the nest, and then they will grow until they are strong enough to try and fly on their own. Some little birds will die because they won't be able to fly and they'll fall and they'll die. Other ones will be able to survive, and hence the world will keep on rotating and revolving with more birds. But some of them do fall and aren't able to fly. Maybe they're not strong enough. Maybe they just can't get the hang of it, and so they'll fall and die. Or if they fall, sometimes the mom will go down there and help them, but eventually they have to learn to fly. Okay, so species. There are currently over 9,800 species of birds known today. 9,800, that's a lot. Almost 1,200 are considered threatened with extinction. Most birds can fly, which distinguishes them from all other vertebrate classes. Most birds. There are birds that cannot fly. Most birds, though, they can. Okay, habitat. They can live in suburban, urban environments, large areas of woodland or grassland. Okay, we've seen them all over the place. They can be found all over the world, even in Antarctica. Many birds build nests in trees or hidden in the overgrown areas on the land. That kind of sounds like the sentence that we learned before, that we saw before about how they can live in nests or that are in like trees or bushes. But they can also live in hidden and overgrown areas so that they are hidden from predators such as like coyotes, bigger birds, wolves, possums, raccoons, anything else that eats birds. Okay, diet. Some birds actually create a form of milk called crop milk to feed their young, which is different, obviously, than the animals that we learned about last week. Some species of birds feast on a variety of insects. They eat seeds, fruits, and even other rodents, mammals, fish, amphibians, and reptiles. So they have a pretty large variety of food. Okay, other features. The hummingbird heart rate is the second fastest of all animals. These are just fun facts. Hummingbirds can fly backwards. Birds have hollow bones which help them fly. This is very important. Birds have hollow bones that help them fly. It just creates less weight, and so they can do what they do and be airborne. Otherwise, if they were too heavy, they wouldn't be able to fly. Honing pigeons are bred to find their way home over long distances. They have historically been used to carry messages back and forth. These are honing pigeons. Some penguins have been recorded diving up to 300 meters deep into the ocean. That's very deep. And then some fun did you know facts. Okay, the current smallest feathered creature is the hummingbird. It weighs just 1.8 grams and about 5 centimeters or 2 inches in length. Okay, so it's pretty small. The largest birds are the ostriches, which are flightless birds with a large body, small head, and long legs. An ostrich, you know what an ostrich looks like. That bird cannot fly, but it does use its like wings to help them run. So they run very, very fast. They have very long legs, but they just can't ever be airborne. But they definitely use the momentum of their wings to help them get from place to place to basically prevent them from being caught by other animals. They can run at speeds of up to 45 miles per hour. Adult ostriches weigh between 220 and 300 pounds and measure between 7 and 9 feet in height. That's a lot of Pam's tall. Okay, that's birds. Remember, this is your picture, and there is a video, which I'm sure most of you have already done, about how birds sing and what it means and how they learn. It's very, very interesting. And we're going to move right into reptiles because I don't want to do 2 videos. We're just going to do 1. It's going to be fun. It's fine. We're fine. It's fine. Okay, reptiles. This is your reptile picture that I want you to include. Again, remember, you are taking notes. You are taking pictures of your notes, and you are uploading them for credit so that I know that you did this. Okay, here are the reptiles. It's got a lot of weird looking things. It has a crocodile, a viper, a rattlesnake, sea turtles, painted turtles, a chameleon, which chameleons are cool, you guys. I want one. An iguana, a sand lizard, all kinds of weird looking snakes and things. Okay, reptiles. This is the picture of the chameleon. If you guys want to see something really trippy, go on YouTube and find videos of chameleons changing color. And you have people like, it's really funny because it's like this chameleon and it's walking and then like somebody will hand it something and then it'll touch it with its little weird hands. It has weird hands. And then it'll start to like change the color of the thing in its weird little hands. And then they'll hand it something else. They'll hand it. You guys. I'm cracking myself up. Okay, so they'll like hand it something else, and then so it'll touch it, and I can't even do it. It like its hand is like they're like sideways. So like if it's gonna grab something, like if you gave it this, it would like I don't know. It's weird. Watch the videos. It's really funny. That's birds. What am I doing? Okay, reptiles. So let's begin. They include snakes, lizards, turtles, crocodiles, and alligators. They do not begin their life in the water, although some reptiles give birth to live young. Most lay eggs. Okay, so some of them will give birth to live young. Most of them, however, will lay eggs. Okay. They all breathe with lungs. So even if they are water creatures, they don't have gills. They still breathe with lungs. They still require oxygen from the air. That means they have to come up and out of the water to be able to breathe. They're all cold-blooded, meaning they rely on their environment to regulate their body temperature. So think of the iguanas from Florida. When it gets too cold, they basically freeze and they have no control over their grip on the branches, therefore they fall. Once it gets warm in the morning, they kind of start to thaw out and then they kind of start to become alive again, which is really creepy and funny at the same time. They have dry, scaly skin. Excuse me. Okay, they have dry, scaly skin. Their life cycle, so egg, they begin as an egg or a live birthed, whatever. And then they go into a youth phase and then they go into adulthood. All reptiles go through a similar life cycle. Most of them lay eggs, although some give birth to their live young. We know that. Reptiles are also one of the longest living species on the planet. Excuse me, certain tortoises, such as the aldabra. It sounds like abracadabra, like smushed. What is happening? Oh, sorry. It sounds like abracadabra smushed into one word, but it's aldabra tortoise. Can live for more than 150 years. Wow. I'm making fun of it, and it's older than me. Okay. Species. So there's over 8,000 known species of reptiles, and they can be found on every continent except Antarctica, where it's simply too cold for them to survive. So because they are cold-blooded, they cannot survive in super cold temperatures. They will freeze and then they won't be able to move around and they'll eventually die. So they live in every continent except Antarctica where it's way too cold. While the majority of the world's snakes are non-venomous, about 500 species are. So there's 500 types of venomous snakes in the world. I don't know about you, but that does not make me want to go on hikes, you guys. It does not. Especially because the humans are in, so the animals are out. And there's a lot of trails. I saw this on Clay Cord where people are taking pictures of the rattlesnakes because there's so many of them. And that's kind of scary for me because I don't like snakes. And my kids will freak out, I know for a fact. Most of the world's venomous snakes can be found in Australia, so good for us that we don't live there. Venomous means that the snake can eject a poison into their prey upon striking them. Okay, so like that. Poisonous means that an animal excretes a toxin on their skin and is poisonous to the touch. So that means that like you can't touch it. Okay. When it comes from a bite, it's venomous. When they excrete it out of their skin, it's poisonous. Does that make sense? So venomous means that they bite you and the poison comes out of their like fangs. Think of like a cobra or something. Are cobras venomous? I think so. Yeah, makes sense, right? That's a real thing. But poisonous means that it comes out of their skin, and if you touch it, then you will somehow or another have that on you, and then that could be harmful to you. Okay, habitat. Where do they live? They live in all habitats except the very cold regions. We've already talked about that. They can typically be found in hot deserts, swamps, tropical jungles, caves, and even in the ocean. Okay, what do these guys eat? So they preferably eat other animals, mammals, such as birds, rodents, invertebrates, so animals with soft bodies, mammals, and even other reptiles. That's what they eat. A few are herbivores. You guys know I have an issue with that word, herbivore. Herbivores, which means they eat plants and fruit and grasses and shrubs and leaves and shrubs. It says shrubs twice. And marine plants like algae. Okay, so a few of them are herbivores. I can do it. I can do hard things. Just right. If you are the word, which means that they eat plants and fruits. Sea turtles have different diets depending on species, but will typically eat jellyfish, shellfish, seagrass, or algae. So again, they're carnivores and they also eat plants. I'm going to say it like that from now on because I can't do it. Other features. Most snakes and lizards do not smell through their noses like you and I do. Instead, they flick their tongues into the air to capture scent particles. That is a real thing. That's why snakes do the little tongue thing. And so they're capturing different smells of different things, dangerous things, or possibly food things through that kind of action. Snakes do not have eyelids, ew. Instead, they have a protective scale over their eyes to help protect them. The longest snake to date is an 8-year-old python found in Kansas City, USA. She measures 25 feet and 2 inches. Okay, very long, very scary. The smallest reptile currently known is the Madagascar Brucisia micra chameleon, or micra. It's probably micra because I'm thinking like microscope, like small, teeny tiny little chameleon. It measures only 30 millimeters from nose to tail, and that's just over an inch. So think about an inch. That's how big from nose to tail. That's teeny tiny. And they probably have weird hands as well. Okay. The largest living reptile is thought to be the Komodo dragon, weighing in at 300 pounds and growing approximately 10 feet in length. No, thank you. Okay, so that's it for reptiles. Remember to take your notes, take pictures of your notes, upload it, and go ahead and put both pictures in the one assignment. I'm going to delete everything. I'm going to create a new one, and all your notes will be in that one. Make sure to watch the bird video if you haven't. And I don't think I have a reptile video. I might post a reptile video at the end of the week, but your notes are going to be due on Friday for both of these. So just if you're watching this, go ahead and finish them, turn them in. I'm going to have it open for anybody who wants to turn it in early. That's fine. But on Friday, I will then start grading them Saturday morning or Friday. Well, no, Saturday morning, because sometimes you guys do work at crazy hours of the night. So that's it for me. I'm sorry that this was kind of a confusing upload situation, but now you have both in one, and so you don't have to open up any new links. Yay! Okay, guys, talk to you later. Bye.